Hello once again, this is Ian Kwachi from Cool Stuff Extreme Network, and today we are talking about value, that is light and shadows, or the light and darks in a painting. So let's get started with Photoshop. Actually, I use Photoshop for all the tools. So this is just a basic walkthrough. When I enter Photoshop, I'm using these parameters: my width in pixels 2500, height 3000, and resolution 300. So let's go in. First of all, I define my brush. Mostly I will use the default brushes, so I'm resetting the brushes, and then okay, default brushes, and then I'll choose a brush like this one. I would explain why I'm choosing a brush like this one. I don't want to choose a brush that is 100% hard like this, or a soft brush like this. I want to choose a brush which is actually hard, but then simulates the actual feel of a real brush when you're painting. So let me explain the settings of this particular brush, especially if you are using a tablet. For this brush, let's go to the settings. For this brush, you realize with all these things, the shape dynamics is checked off, and the transfer is the main thing now. When I uncheck it, this is what happens. You see the edges become so thick like that, which means when you are painting, you're having something like okay, sorry, opacity is 34%. That's why. But then when you're painting, you're having something like this. I don't want something like this, so let the transfer be on. This is what I'm having. But then I want more of the extreme point. I want it to move from point to point. So getting into the transfer settings, the opacity jitter, I use the pen pressure, so I have something like this, which means when I'm drawing, it moves from uh, circle to, is a circle here, so it's moving from this circle to this circle to this circle to this circle like that. So the actual feel is with a stroke. This is the actual feel. This is what I want. So when you go over again, it becomes dark. When you go over again, it becomes dark. So the more you go, the more it becomes dark. And that is what I really want. I'm using this to kill so many bears at a time. The reason why I'm saying that is at the end of the whole thing, I want to have some textures inside. I want to be able to define my light point and also my shadow point. So this is how I start the work. We are about to draw something like a fruit, an odd fruit. Unfortunately or fortunately, I wouldn't do a grayscale work. That one is on the next tutorial, which is actually a silent one. I'm not talking that one. So we start. Um, Basically, I go for a background which is not white, but somewhere between gray and ash. Well, it's all part of the shades of black and white. So um, I'm doing a fruit which is like a red fruit. It can be an apple, orange, anything. It's just red. So what some people would like to do, I think the whole thing is becoming so lengthy. But what some people would like to do is to um, I'm coming. What some people would like to do is to define their colors. So these are the colors I'll be using in the artwork. This color, a darker color like this, and an orangey color, a little bit orange, yellow. And if I'm supposed to do have a petal or a stalk for the fruit, it will be green. This particular green. So let's go ahead and start. It's not a speed painting, so I'll be talking as I start painting. Let's choose my light source from this particular angle. Yeah, so my light source is coming from up here. Because I don't want to mess up the whole thing, I would I will not do it on the background layer, but I'll do it on this layer. Normally I'll do everything on the same layer, but for the sake of this, let's start. So starting with a red one, that's the basic one, the main color. I start painting. You notice I'm painting against the direction of my source of light, which is coming this way. So obviously this part will be white, this part will be dark. So I go with strokes which are actually, I don't know, parallel to themselves, but then in the opposite direction of the light source, obviously. So I choose a darker color, and yeah, I keep on getting that question: how do you make it 3D? I don't make anything 3D. The thing is, it's only your values that makes your work more realistic. Let's put it that way. Let's put it that way, or more 3D like, though it's actually a 2D work anyway. So I'll start defining my floor, and behind behind the fruit will be there will be more shadows there than this part, than the front part. So I'll go ahead and choose the orange color. That will be, you see, there are some different variations of colors when it comes to using stuff, and those things actually make the whole artwork very nice, very beautiful. Let's put it that way. Now I decide to stop choosing my colors from here. I'm actually going to sample colors from what I've done so far. So that part will be from this brown, but then because I'm using the transfer brush, it's not really brown. Some parts are this brown, some parts are lighter brown, and blah blah blah. They all merge together at a point. So there you go. At the end of this shoot, I do hope it's just a walkthrough anyway. I wanted to clarify some things. Some people might not know what value does, or painting with light, what it does. But it's a very good practice if you decide to paint with light. Then again, it might be it might be also okay to decide to paint with shapes. But what I'm actually doing now is, even though I'm not saying it, I'm actually painting with light and shadows. Sorry, I'm painting with light and shapes. And when I say I'm painting with light, I mean I'm painting with the light and shadows. I'm painting with shapes. Painting with shapes, I'll just stop for a moment and talk about that. When you are painting with shapes, for instance, this thing I'm creating, it is a fruit. We don't really know what fruit it is, but then we know overall it's an orange or elliptical fruit. Sorry, it's an elliptical fruit, so it's round or something. It might be an orange, it might be anything. Obviously not a banana, but it can be anything. And the general shape of this thing is circular or round or elliptical. And apart from that, we have other shapes here. You see, this shape is a crescent. So I'm keeping in mind that the very base of this thing, because the oh, someone is calling, the very base of the whole artwork, because there will be shadow here, based on the fact that there's light coming from this particular point. Here will be elliptical, so I keep this rule in mind. Uh, okay, I keep on getting calls whenever I'm doing this. Okay, got it. Yeah, so I'm going for a dark red again, a pure red again from my personal picker, a palette. And you see, when you're painting, this is still life painting. And I think if if people actually enjoy live painting sections, they will learn more from what other artists are doing. But I keep on learning more by joining groups that do live painting. And even though I'm not there, it's actually online and live, and you get a chance to also ask them questions and stuff like that. Then now I'm going extreme. In extreme, I'm using really black or really white, or let's say pure black and pure white. So for the pure black, I'm using it to define the very dark sides and the shadows on the ground. And there's one thing, if you are painting, know that the shadows can have light in there. The light can have shadows in there, but then the light in the shadows cannot be as bright as any light in the light. I hope I'm making sense. For example, for example, this can be white, and I'm bringing white here, but then this white, right, obviously is one of the shades of this color, red or whatever. It can be pink or anything. I mean, if we select, it's going to be pink. It's not really, even though it's white, it's not. It cannot be white as a white here. I think I'm making sense now. Okay, so let's go on. And there's something called reflective light. I'll be talking about reflective light in my next walkthrough, because all those times I was doing graphics, there was one thing that made my most of my pictures stand out. It's not because they are great pictures, it's because of the way I'm lighting them. And I use a technique called fake light, which I realized I didn't know until I started painting well. That I realized, oh, it's also part of the rules, and it's actually reflective lighting. And I'll be talking about reflective lighting another time. But then in my fake light technique, the reflective lighting is actually considered in a different way. The point is, before you can actually decide to go off scale or think outside the box or something like that, you should really know the rules before you can break them. Because if you really want to break the rules in art, excuse me to say, you should really know the rules before you can invent your own rules or get your own style. Before you can get your own style, you should actually know what's entailed in the other styles that you are not really doing. So that's it. No, let me just go ahead and start with my reflective lighting here. In reflective lighting, okay, I'll do some on the ground rather. I decided to use this color, which is also behind the red, to paint the ground, because obviously the fruit, which is red, will actually reflect some things on the ground. And think about the reflectiveness of the ground. It might be a shiny surface or a leather surface or something. So your reflections also depends on the material which the thing is reflected upon. And with this fruit, because of the way I'm painting it, we know obviously it has a little bit of shiny material skin on it. Yeah. So it's just like that. Then we are not having so much of refractions and all that in this particular piece. So to be answered, to start answering some questions, this is how I make them 3D. It's all about your value, understanding how value works when you are painting. And it's art. It's part of everything. It happens in photography. It happens in anything. So whether you're, I don't know, whatever you are doing, I mean, you should watch this thing and let's learn more. And on Hangout, I think I'll be linking up with so many people, so we do some collective things, live painting on Hangout itself and all that. So from this point, I decide to make it look like a real still life painting. So I'm getting rid of the background. You can actually give it a background if you want. I mean, Straight lines wouldn't kill you. So just like that. So we go in here, we clean all these nasty things. Yeah, so when you're painting, I don't suppose you be thinking about, hey, I'm supposed to raise here, but I made a mistake, blah blah blah. It's all in a brush. It's all in a brush. You make a mistake, try and choose a color closer to wherever you think the mistake is, and correct it by painting over that place. So look, I'm making here darker, and let's make the whole thing a little bit dynamic. So we are adding should I add a spotlight? Okay, no, we are adding a different lighting from me or from you, the person viewing this. There's one streak of light from there, like a softbox or something, from in front. It's just a normal lazy light from in front. So this is how it's going to be like. Well, let me finish with the reflectiveness of this thing on the ground. A little bit around here. Yeah, it's okay. So we are done with we are done with this part. Keep on making mistakes. Pure black. It's okay. It's okay. Let's say we are done with the whole thing. So you can go crazy try and add water droplets on it or anything. But then what I would want to do now is to decide just now to add a different kind of light. And the light is coming from me. It's coming from me, the person painting this thing. So. And you know, we are trying to make this thing shine like that. And that's a specular. Also, some of you may know this specular as highlight or however you may choose to call it. I don't really know. Well, I know how it's called, but I don't know how you call it. So. That's one light coming from this part. Let's go over it a little. Yeah. And I want another kind of light here. It's also a highlight. Seriously, it's a crazy highlight I'm trying to get here. I want it to shine like that. And yeah. So if you look at the thing from here from the thumbnail, you realize the things that having a glow effect on it. And yeah, that's exactly how I want it to be. So now I'm wondering what kind of fruit am I even drawing? I'm wondering what fruit is it? Is it even a fruit? Okay, so I'll go ahead and erase this part. Let's go for pure red again. Because we missed those reds. We missed them. They're the foundation of the whole thing. We missed them very much. Oh, we are missing the oranges, so we bring them. Did I say oranges? We missed some oranges. Okay, so we actually done. We're done here. Let's say we are done here. We are really done. We are totally done here. We are done with this painting. I don't want to talk much about painting, doing this, doing that. But then, yeah, this is the base of the whole thing. And you do realize that from here you can see where it actually touches the ground. And let's talk about this with the reflectiveness of the whole thing. So reflective lighting. So it's actually an orb instead of what it's supposed to be. So I choose this color. Just watch me carefully. I choose this color, which is actually a lighter color of itself, or red, lighter color of itself. We're come to reflect some things or show some light in the shadows. So this part is the darker color of red, which is actually brown, as we know. But I'll choose the lighter color of this color. Like I said, there's no light in the shadow that can be as lit as a light in the light. so it cannot be white. But then in my fake light technique, it can be white. We'll talk about that one later. So let's go ahead and start painting here this way. See, it's reflecting, and all of a sudden it's looking nice. And trust me. Okay, don't trust me. It's okay. Then we left one color out. That was the green. So let's try and put some petrol or some stock or some crazy stuff here. Now I don't know what fruit this is. But trust me, I would never eat it if I knew there was a fruit like this. It's odd. It's very, very odd. Okay, so we go for blacks, and the reason why I'm choosing black is I don't want to waste my time on this part. We have gone way too deep into this shoot. So yeah, obviously I want lighter color, very light color to make it shine. It's all about the shining, you know that. So we have to realize me trying to do some stupid at something. It's all about the shining, you know that. So we go ahead and bring in our blacks, you know. There's a little bit of reflection here. So you can use the black to do it, yeah. No reflection, shadows, you know. Shadows on there, but you know, it's the wrong shadow, but let's take like that. So this is the end of painting with light. Okay, with the painting with light, we have not really finished. There's a process called rendering. I mean, I've been rendering from the beginning to the end. Well, let's. I've been rendering from the beginning to the end, but then when I'm really rendering a work, this is not what I'll be doing anyway. That was a sleazy way of working. That was a cheap way of working. That's very cheap. Nobody would pay for something like that. Yeah, but then this is the whole thing. So this is the whole thing. And if you are, I don't know, if you like tweaking your colors because you didn't really do it well, you can go ahead and use your adjustment layer, blah blah blah. Try and make it very nice or very interesting. So here we go. Have a nice time. This is Ian from Cool Stuff Extreme Network, and I'll be bringing you more tunes. The only way I'll bring you more tunes, aside the ones I have in my head, is when you request for them. Tell me, how do you think you do this? I don't know. We are all learning. So if you ask me, I'll go research. If I don't know, then I'll try and have my way around it and say it, put it in the language you would understand. So have a nice time. Bye bye.